Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode with Coffee with Lee. I'm gonna start out this episode with an apology. I promised myself that I would never go negative in a campaign. I think people are sick of it. I know I'm sick of it. But there's some things that need to be clarified. My opponent has made some accusations that are blatantly not true. So you need to be explained what these spreadsheets mean that he's posted for you to view, and the things he said about me wasting almost $2 million. If you know anything about county government, you know that that's not possible. Every department in the county puts together a budget, and that budget is scrutinized by the commissioner's court. All the commissioners and the county judge sat down with the department heads and their people, and we go through their budget. We come to an agreement. Same thing happens with the county commissioner. Each commissioner submits his budget. We review it. We go over it. It's all agreed upon before it ever gets approved as our budget. And once that budget is approved, that's what we have to live within. We live within our budget. One of the spreadsheets that my opponent shared with you is a spreadsheet called a budget versus expense breakdown. And he's highlighted out here on the very end of it, revenue versus expense. And from 2016 to 2019, all those numbers are in brackets. That means that's in a negative. It's in a deficit. Well, number one, county commissioners don't know what their revenue is. Those items are managed by the county auditor and the county treasurer. We live within our budget. Our budget is over here at the far left, and then our expenses are right here in the middle. When we spend unanticipated money, we have to do a budget amendment, which is voted on by the entire commissioner's court, okay? So you can't just spend money. It just doesn't work like that. So he shows you that revenue versus expense is in a deficit. Did you know that every year when we pass our budget, we never fully fund the budget? It is underfunded every year on purpose because we know there's fallout. And plus we have over a $16 million general fund account balance. So we know that historically all the precincts run revenue versus expense in a deficit. But we don't know about revenue. All we know about is budget. So we have to mark that off the list. You can't infer that was a overspending. It's done on purpose. So look it up. Historically, all the precincts run in a deficit, revenue versus expenses. We live within our budget, not our revenue. The other spreadsheet that he sent out was a fund balance for the general fund, road and bridge precinct 1 through 4, courthouse security, etc. But he's highlighted precinct 2. In 2016, we had $1,098,435.93 in it. But in 2019, we have a $94,572.24 deficit. He said, I wasted all that money. You know, the real problem that I have is that he knows why these numbers say what they say. This money wasn't spent. It was transferred out and parked in another account. In 2019, we had to front the money for a big road project that we had to pay for first, and then the state would reimburse us our money. So if you look, the very next year, 2020, we got $203,825 in our fund balance. that doesn't just magically appear unless you get a big check from the state. My opponent didn't put that money in there. I did. So when you purposely misrepresent, honestly, I'm appalled that he uses words like ethics, transparency, truth, and honor. If that's what he's running his campaign on, if you take how he misrepresented these two spreadsheets, I think that ship may have just sank. He's asked you to trust your gut in this campaign. I think you might ought to do that. People, I've never let you down, and I never will. I've always been a good steward of your tax dollars. Always stayed within my budget, unless we were doing a big road project, which we were being reimbursed for. That's why we do budget amendments. So I guess I'm going to leave it with you right there. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to say a prayer for my opponent. And I hope you do too. Good night.